Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Bookmark Podcast. I am your host, Lena, and today we have our second episode. This one will be revolving all around the autumn season. As you can tell, we have Fall Snoopy, and I also revamped the bookshelf to be a little bit more spooky and dark for the holidays. Now that we're about halfway, a little bit more than halfway through September, it is time for the spooky month. But this episode was actually inspired by a post I did on my Instagram Cousins Book Club, and it was all about what I like to call the Burr months, which are September through December. And I talked about my most anticipated reads, fall new releases, and some of my personal favorite books to read this season. But before we get into that, it has been brought to my attention that some of my viewers are not longtime readers. This podcast was actually made for my senior class and a senior project to graduate, but a lot of my viewers are actually from my book Instagram and are avid readers and are girls who know the terminology, but my main audience might not. So we're going to rapid fire a couple bookish terms just to get everyone on the same page. Some of these might feel obvious, even if you are not a reader, but I thought I would share them. So, starting off with Bookstagram, you will hear me talk about that a lot. That is a book Instagram. That is where my blog is. That is where I got this entire idea for the podcast, actually. And yeah, I review books on there. I have mutuals who are also like bookstagrammers, and we all of our content is book related, and we post reviews and pretty much anything bookish related. So, next up, we have a novella. This is a mini book or short story. These usually are included in like a series. Sometimes an author will add a novella. We will actually be talking about one in this video. But yeah, they just are short stories, usually revolving around characters that already have books about them, fun holiday like short stories, things like that. A duology, that is a two-book series, a duo, and pretty simple. A trilogy, a three-book series. An interconnected series, these are books that can be read alone as standalones, but they all exist within the same world. So they are linked together. You could read them as if they were a series, but if you went in on any number of the book, it's really not going to mess up the story. You could just go into it blind. An MMC, you'll hear me talk about a little bit. That is a male main character. An FMC is the female main character. A TBR is a to be read list or books you want to read. I think about it as a to do list, but for books. An ARC is an advanced reader copy. These are given to, I mean, anyone can apply for one. You usually apply through publishers or you can apply through certain platforms, but you pretty much request early advanced copies of books, and you can also be gifted them. So since I'm on Bookstagram, you can have like authors reach out to you, ask if you'd want to read their book early for early reviews. And yeah, it's always fun. And I think that covers the more niche bookish terms. Now I had to roll my TBR cart, which has all of my books that I want to read over here, and I'll be showing you some of the books today. And let's get into it. So, starting off with my fall anticipated reads, these are new releases or books that are either just got released or are still waiting to come out. So, first up, we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I have been so excited for this book. Um, the Night and the Moth is about Sybil. She is a diviner who is someone who receives prophetic dreams from the omens, who are the gods that rule this land. And she is in service of a cathedral when her fellow diviners start mysteriously disappearing, and she is forced to work with a rude knight named Roderick, and they're supposed to uncover the secrets and get answers from the gods on what is happening to the fellow diviners. This is supposed to be a slow burn, a gothic magical realm, and kind of an enemies to lovers relationship. I've heard very good reviews about this. A lot of people like Rachel Gillig. I will be talking about two of her other books later on in this video. And yeah, I've heard such good things about it. I think the vibes are giving like fall vibes, so I'm very excited for it. Next, we have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I actually spoke about Rebecca Ross last episode about her Letters of Enchantment duology, and I'm so excited. This one is a standalone, and I just saw one of my friends review it, and she said it was like her favorite book ever. It has taken over her favorites list, and this is everything to her. So now I have extremely high hopes. And I'll be honest, I did not even know much going into buying this book. I just knew it was from Rebecca Ross, and since she announced that she was writing it, I was open to it. I wanted it. I didn't care what it was about as long as it was from her. But apparently, it takes place in the same world as the Divine Rivals duology, and it follows Matilda, a young goddess, and Vincent, a young mortal who apparently dreams of her, despite the fact he has never met her in real life. And somehow, fate is going to bring them together. I am so excited for this. I know I'm going to love it. And yeah, I think this will be probably my next read. Um, the next couple books have not been released, so I'm going to include some pop-ups of the pictures of them and then also their release dates. First up, we have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This is released October 7th. If you know me, you know that Stephanie Garber is my all-time favorite author. She is everything. I love her, and I'm also going to be going to one of her tour dates in October for the release of Alchemy of Secrets, and I'm so insanely excited. And yeah, it is going to be a contemporary fantasy thriller in Los Angeles where a graduate student, Holland St. James, discovers urban myths that she has been studying are actually real. And this leads her on a dangerous treasure hunt for a mythical artifact. And after a local legend predicts her imminent death, she has to go on this journey. The story is supposed to blend Hollywood glamour and history with folklore and mystery and a little bit of a romantic element. Fanny Garber's other series is very romantical, it's very whimsical. Um, it is full fantasy. So this is actually going to be an adult book. Her other ones are YA. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. I've never seen her write a thriller, so this is very exciting. Next up, we have Holly by Adalyn Grace. This is being released September 30th. Holly is a festive, mysterious, and magical holiday novella set in a romantic gothic world of Adalyn Grace's Belladonna series. I will actually be talking about Belladonna later in this video, and it follows our two main characters who are home for the holidays as a group of restless spirits threatens their family celebration by revealing the secrets behind their deaths. So, Signa, our main character, has to team up with Death himself to solve these mysteries and help the spirits move on so they can return to their festivities. This is supposed to be a fun holiday novella. I love a holiday novella. I don't usually read around the holidays because I get busy, but short novellas are always fun to have. And I always think it has like a fun Christmas, or some of them are Christmas. They're just usually like a fake holiday, but it still gives like the exact same vibes. And I also plan on reading the third book in the trilogy, Wisteria, right before I read Holly. Next up, we have Soul Searching by Lyla Sage. This will also be released on September 30th. And this is a paranormal Western romance where a failed photographer, Collins Cartwright, returns to her haunted hometown of Sweetwater Peak and finds a room for rent at a new local upholsterer, Brady Cooper's. I'm very excited for this one. I already love Lila's romances, so I'm very excited to see them in a bit more of a spooky setting. I know they're supposed to be in the same exact world of her Rebel Blue Ranch series, so I just know it's a different town. I'm imagining a ghost town. Also, the main character is supposed to be able to talk to spirits, so I am very excited about that. I think that will be the perfect book to read around Halloween. Very excited. Now let's talk about some more general TBR reads that I think I will enjoy for the autumn or have been on my list for a while and I just haven't been getting around to them. So, starting off with what it isn't a duology, because I'm pretty sure it's about to be a trilogy, is Hellbent and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is about Alex. She is a survivor of a horrific crime and is given a full scholarship to Yale. But there is a catch. She must join Leigh, which is a ninth secret society responsible for overseeing occult activities, and the other eight societies. This is supposed to be dark academia, and it is also supposed to have like secret societies, and I also is supposed to deal with the underworld. So I'm very excited for this. I think dark academia and secret societies are very fall vibes. So I'm excited for these, and I've heard very good things. A lot of my good friends, these are some of their favorite books, and Leigh Bardugo is a great author, so I'm looking forward to them. Next up is one that has been on my TBR for about a year now. I just have not gotten around to these, but I know so many people who love them, and they're kind of just like a classic for people. And that is Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. They are a young adult fantasy duology, and it is supposed to have kind of a cat and mouse, enemies to lovers story. And it's also supposed to be very good at political world building. I've been wanting to read these, like I said, since last fall, and they've kind of just been sitting around. So I'm hoping to get to them soon, and I'm really looking forward to these. Next up is another duology. We have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, who wrote The Night and the Moth. These are super popular. This is in the Shepherd King series, and it is supposed to be a gothic romantic fantasy. Our FMC's name is Espeth, and she has a monster or spirit living inside of her head that she calls the Nightmare. And it is an ancient and merciful spirit trapped in her head. She is forced into this world of shadow and deception as she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder, the world they are in, from a dark magic infecting it. I have never seen a bad thing about this duology. So many people love it. I'm very excited to read it. I've been wanting to read it for a while. And yeah, I always see like art from it. It looks incredibly good, so I'm very excited for it. And that dark fantasy atmosphere, I think, is absolutely perfect for the fall. Next, we have another book that I think just gives those perfect fall vibes, and that is Immortal Dark. I saw a mutual friend of mine read this, and when it came out, she just absolutely loved it. I've seen her not stop talking about this, and it has been described as the Cruel Prince meets Ninth House, which really piqued my interest. It is a dark academia fantasy where a lost heiress must infiltrate an arcane society and live with the vampire she suspects killed her family and kidnapped her sister. I don't know what can get more spooky and more fall than this. I don't know what is more perfect in the fall season than a dark academia vampire book. I don't think anything is more fall than vampires. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this would be a really great one to read during October. And yeah, I'm very excited for this one. The next one is actually a series. I don't have the entire series sitting with me, it's on my shelf, but it's a four-book series, and it is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabatier. This is a book about under the Martial Empire, defiance is met with death. Those who do not vow their blood and bodies to the emperor risk the execution of their loved ones and the destruction of all they care about. We follow our FMC as her brother just got arrested for treason. Her name is Leigh and is forced to make a decision in exchange from help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother. She risked her life to spy for them for within the Empire's greatest military academy. I've heard amazing things about this series. Anytime I tell my friends I'm going to read it, they're like, "Yes, yes, please, like get on it." And I've heard it's amazing, so I'm very excited. I really wanna read the whole series all at once. I don't really like splitting up a series, so I think once I have time, I'm just gonna read all 4 of them back to back. And finally, let's talk about some of my personal favorites for this time of year. We're going to start off with a book that I actually mentioned in my last episode, which is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I mentioned this in my last episode that it was one of my favorite books, but I think it is the perfect book to read during this time of year. It is set in Ireland, and the vibes are cold and cozy, and it's also such a heart aching read that I feel like it needs to be read in a colder month. It needs to have gloomy weather and a sweater on. And I think this would be a great time to also watch the show. I think if you're going to read this book, you need to go and watch the show right after. It's a short one, it's only one season, it's a couple episodes, but I think it is equally good, if not better, than the book. And both of them live rent free in my head. So I definitely recommend this for this time of year. Next one is another one I actually mentioned in last week's episode, which is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I obviously talked about last episode. It is about a young woman who makes a bargain for immortality and freedom, but at the cost of being forgotten by anyone she ever meets. This is just a favorite of mine. I absolutely love it. The setting of this book is also very cold weather vibes. I read it during winter last year and I felt like it was just the perfect time to read it. I also think like when the leaves are falling, I know we live in a state that that doesn't happen very much, but I think it would be best for cozy weather. And I think you should read it at this time of year. Next up is actually my last read that I did, which was Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is also another V.E. Schwab book. And this was my most recent read. I just finished it about a week ago. And this is a sapphic vampire story. It's been described by V.E. Schwab herself as toxic lesbian vampires, which is honestly spot on. But it's also so much more than that. It's a haunting story about survival and power and obsession and what it truly costs to be free. We get to follow three women across three different timelines whose lives eventually intertwine. But while each of their stories are so distinct from one another, they are all have that common experience of being a woman and learning how their vampirism becomes a means of reclaiming power. But that power doesn't come without a price. This book raises a lot of questions of, is the price of freedom your soul? Is it losing everyone you love? Is it slowly descending into madness? It was a very good book. It took me a while to read, but I honestly think that's what made it so much better. And yeah, I think once again, vampires equal fall to me. So I think this would be the perfect book to read at this time of year. Next up, we have Our Infinite Fates. This book follows many different characters throughout centuries, but is about two souls who are reincarnated in every life. Our main timeline that we follow is about Evelyn and Arden, and we learn that they are soulmates in every lifetime and destined to kill each other in each one. And it is because of a mysterious curse or bargain. As I mentioned in the last episode, I love any type of book that has the theme of a curse, a bargain, immortality, anything like that. I always eat up a story like this. This is was really great. It was very poetic and romantic. Very much liked it. And yeah, another one about immortality. I feel like vampires and then people who can live forever are some themes that I really like. Next, we have Wings of Starlight, which, if you are familiar with Tinkerbell or the Pixie Hollow series, you will remember this story. It is so nostalgic to me. I read this in winter of last year, and it is just it's everything to me. This follows Queen Clarion, but when she was a teenager before her coronation to be queen. It pretty much is her coming of age story, and that's when she meets the Warden of the North, Mallory. There is a monster terrorizing Pixie Hollow, and she meets Mallory while trying to find the monster. He is a winter fairy, while she is a warm fairy, and it kind of becomes this like forbidden love story between them while they are also trying to work together to get rid of these monsters. I saw this story when I was little in the Pixie Hollow movies, and it was always alluded to, but you never really got to see their full story because they were adults at the time. And I remember just being a little girl and being like, I want to know what happened to them. I want to know their story. And this comes out when I am at the age of 22, and I am now reading it. And I will say, it is not a childish book. This is not like a children, it could be read like 12 and up, but I very much enjoyed it at the age of 22, and I think it really just warmed something in my little girl heart, and I absolutely loved it. So, if you were a fan of Pixie Hollow or Tinkerbell, this one's for you. Okay, lastly, we have another fall favorite of mine, and that is Belladonna, the one that I mentioned that goes with the Holly novella. This is about Signa, a young woman who was orphaned as a baby and has always been close to death throughout her life, whether it was near death experiences or death around losing the people around her. She has always been left to raise by these like strings of different guardians, and this leads her to the Hawthorns, which is a family whose mother had recently passed and the daughter is now sick. This leads the mother's spirit to contact Signa, claiming that she was poisoned. Cigna is then left to uncover this murder, and the only way to do it is forming an alliance with Death himself. As I mentioned in the Holly book, Death himself is a character. And this is such a fall book. The atmosphere of this book is very gothic, dark, it's super vivid, and I think this is like the best mystery. It is a trilogy plus the novella that will be coming out for the holidays, but it is definitely a story that will keep you on your toes for the fall. And if you want to read all three, it is Belladonna, Foxglove, Wisteria, and then we'll have the Holly holiday novella. And yeah, that's all for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you maybe got some fall recommendations or something to read this season that you might enjoy. And yeah, I hope you join me next week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.